Hey there, I am Dr. Dave, and this is Microdose U, and welcome to a very special episode. As many of you know, I'm on the road. I am in the middle of a 2-month-long road trip, and I've got some really good Q&A I'm going to answer for you about microdosing, mushrooms, and all of that in just a couple minutes. But I just want to share a few things about the road trip with you first. I embarked on this road trip about I don't know, 5-6 weeks ago, something like that. And when I first started, my wife was with me. She was with me for the first 2 weeks. We started from Salt Lake City, Utah, and we drove east, Florida, Maryland, New York. She flew home from New York, and I've been on my own since, and I'm still going to be out here for a little bit longer. And I just want to share with you that this is perhaps the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. It's not really about the destinations. It's not about sightseeing. It's not about events. It's not about anything like that. It's about being on my own, alone, being able to think without any time constraints. See, I don't have to be anywhere at any certain time. And I spent almost all of my life, I should say, almost my entire life, as a student, working as a professional, a public speaker. I was always on a schedule. I always had things I had to do and places I had to be and times and sticking to a schedule. And when you're like that your entire life, I'm not so sure how great that is. And for once, I'm out here on the road, nothing but me and my car. And by the way, this little frog, if you're watching this on YouTube, this frog that I won on the boardwalk in Ocean City a couple weeks ago, that was like one of the highlights of the trip. I won a frog on the boardwalk playing a game. And it was just, it's hard to explain, but this has been just unbelievable. And the fact that I can do basically anything I want, go anywhere I want, with no schedule, with no time, without having to check in with anyone. My wife is so cool that she knows this is like a kind of like almost like a hippie trip for me, and I can just do whatever I want, because she realizes that all my life I've been a slave to the clock and the calendar and the schedule, and it's not so good. So I've been doing a lot of thinking out here. One of the things I've been thinking about, speaking of time, is time. Ever since I've been using psychedelics, I've got this really strong feeling that time as we know it and feel it is kind of an illusion. It's the way we perceive it, and we all think that, it's a timeline, and, you're young, then you get older, then ultimately you pass away. But I've come to realize that I really don't think time is the way we perceive it. I think it's totally different. However, we are in some way, I'll use the word programmed, because I can't think of a better way to think of time as just a timeline. But I think it's so much deeper than that, and I don't want to spend this episode explaining it, because quite honestly, I'm not sure. But I will tell you that the mushrooms have got me really thinking that what we see and what we're experiencing is really nothing more than an illusion. But past that, I don't know. Anyway, if you're in a town or a city that I might be passing it through, drop it in the show notes. No, not the show notes, the comments. If you're on YouTube, the comments, or send me an email or a Facebook message or a private message or something. Reach me and let me know where you are, and if there's any way I can stop by and say hi to you, have a cup of coffee. I've done that quite a bit so far already on this trip, and this is one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. So thank you so much for following me. Thanks for being here with me at Microdose U. Let's get into some questions on this episode. And by the way, if you're brand new to me, I've got a brand new episode every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, a brand new episode comes out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, pretty much wherever you're listening or watching. Okay, first question. This is from YouTube, from at Kaisha Keeger. I sorry if I pronounced that really badly. I probably did, but I did the best I could. Okay, the question is, if you microdose and you're on an SSRI and you feel good overall, are you wasting the mushrooms? Is it like they're not working? Well, Kaisha Kiger, really good question. So first of all, if you start microdosing and you're already on an SSRI and you're feeling fantastic and everything's working great, then, maybe the SSRI is your answer. It wasn't mine. It made me feel better, but it made me feel, I'd say, like I've said before, it made me feel about 60% better. And I don't want to live a 60% lifestyle. I want to live a 100% lifestyle. So for me, the SSRI wasn't doing the job. So that's why I started microdosing while I was on the SSRI. I get asked this all the time, and I know you're not asking this question, but people say, should I stop the SSRI? Should I discontinue it? Should I wean off of it and then start microdosing? And I talk about this all the time because, again, it's asked. I get asked this almost every day. But no, the answer is no. You start, you continue with the SSRI, and then you start the magic mushrooms, and you ultimately wean off the SSRI. But your question is not exactly that. Your question is, if you start microdosing but you're already feeling great, is it a waste? And that's up to you, because you might want to be switching to something that's more natural, like magic mushrooms, that will actually rewire your brain and not make you, what's the word I'm looking for? Have to take an SSRI for the rest of your life, because the SSRI really just affects the way the serotonin it's reuptake, and so it's not really fixing anything. It's just doing something with the serotonin. But if you really want to try to change and fix your brain and rewire your brain, so ultimately you don't have to be doing anything at all, then magic mushrooms are the way to go. And yes, you would be doing them together for a time, and then ultimately trying to wean off of the SSRI with your doctors, with your, alongside of your doctor. Make sure your doctor knows about this. But I don't know if I answered that as well as you wanted me to. But again, I think my answer is, you have to decide what you want to do. If SSRIs are totally fine for you for the rest of your life and you feel great, then who am I to say that's not what you should do? But if you truly want to make a change in the way your brain is wired, then I would say magic mushrooms are the way to go. And ultimately, you'll be weaning off of the SSRIs, and you'll see how that goes. Good question. It was not the. I hope I got you on that one. Okay, next question from Wayne's Poke World, or Wayne's Poke World, however you like to pronounce that one. I've been using 0.1 gram capsules for a few days, and I feel nothing at all. No changes whatsoever. Well, okay, so first of all, Wayne, a few days, I mean, congratulations that you started, but a few days really doesn't mean anything at all. You've got to really get into the groove and do this more than just a few days to possibly feel something. And also all the things you do alongside of it, like journaling and things we've talked about for a long, long time. And also taking a road trip like this, because this really does, I think the road trip rewires your brain. In my mind, seriously, this road trip is unbelievable. Now, of course, a lot of people can't take just 2 months off and just hit the road with no real plans or direction, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that. But maybe one day you can. But getting back to Wayne, I'm going off on a tangent here because I'm just so into this and so excited about what this has done for my brain. But Wayne, if you go longer and you don't feel anything from 0.1, go up to 0.2. Go up to 0.2. In fact, these days I'm asking people to probably even start with 0.2 gram. And as you know, if you convert that properly, that's 200 milligrams. There'd be nothing wrong with stepping up to 0.2 or 200 milligrams right now and see how that works out. But again, don't expect like overnight success. I mean, it's gradual. For some people, it's almost right away, but for other people, it's very gradual. And the mushrooms will work and will rewire your brain. But again, it's not necessarily like a quick fix overnight, done. Let's be patient, take our time, don't deviate. Too many people try it and try it for a few days or a week or two, then they don't really get anything out of it and they just stop and they're on to the next thing. And that's not a good thing. And I've talked about that a lot in the past. Be focused. Have a goal, and your goal is to have these magic mushrooms work. But again, you got to be patient, focused, patient. Let them do their work. They will do their work. But again, adjust your dose as needed, and there's nothing wrong with going up to 0.2 or 200 milligrams. Thanks for that, Wayne. Appreciate that question. The next question is from somebody. Now, your name was written in Chinese, possibly Chinese or Japanese characters, kanji characters, and I couldn't really read your name, so I'm just going to say, we'll call you Kanji. What's your opinion on taking lemon water alongside of microdosing? I'm not sure about just lemon water by itself alongside microdosing, but if you're asking about a technique called lemon teching, that's totally different. And what that does, or the reason behind the lemon teching is to put the powder, the mushroom powder, ground up dried mushroom powder, in like a slurry of lemon juice. Let it sit for about, and you can do this like in a little tiny dish, like typically a dish that, you use soy sauce for sushi, a little dish like that. Put some lemon juice in there, stir the dried, ground up magic mushrooms into that, and let it sit for 5, 6, 7 minutes or so, and then go ahead and ingest, dose, or swallow that slurry paste of magic mushrooms. What that does, it starts to break down the psilocybin into psilocin, and psilocin is the product that actually goes to work on your brain and your body. And then normally you have to digest this in your gut, and that takes time. And a lot of times people get nausea or upset stomach or things like that. It's not that common, but it does happen. So that's, some people like the lemon tech because it takes the digestion part outside in this dish before you actually swallow it, so it's easier on the gut. And also, what it does, it works much faster because the psilocybin now doesn't have to be converted to psilocin inside your body, inside your gut. It's already done in this little dish. So now you swallow it. It works faster, stronger. So be careful if you're doing, let's say, 0.1 or 0.2 grams, and you use the lemon tech procedure. It could be, it could feel like 1.5 to maybe even 2 times as strong, because it's already done the work, the digestion and the conversion into psilocin outside. So it could be stronger, it could feel stronger. So just be careful of that. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to, lemon water, but if you're looking to do something like that, I would do this process called lemon teching that I just described. Great question, Kanji. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. This one came in via email. If microdosing is making me feel better, what responsibility do I now have to help others? That's a really cool question. And so I've been like a teacher, a mentor, a coach, whatever you want to call me, for decades. It started in dentistry. I helped dentists become more successful in their practices. When I became vegan, I was vegan for 7 years, and I kind of got out of that because I think it was killing me slowly. But while I was vegan, I did believe in it for a little while, and I tried to help people and coach people into being healthier. Now I help people be healthier, become healthier in different ways. But I've been, and then when I started microdosing, I really felt the need to start helping people, because this is a total game changer. And that's where I started this podcast and my website, Microdose U, and all this stuff about 3 to 4 years ago or so, something like that. So I had a calling to help other people. And I always said when I started my podcast, if I help one person on this planet feel better every day and get rid of their anxiety or depression or whatever it might be, if I help one other person, I felt that was extremely successful, and that would be a great goal. Well, fast forward, I've had this podcast going for several years now, 3 to 4 years, and I've helped many people all over the planet. So getting back to your question, and I'm sorry I didn't write down a name there, so I won't call you by name, but getting back to your question, yes, if you feel compelled, if it's helping you and you feel compelled to help even one other human being. It might be somebody in your family, it might be a friend, it could be a partner, a spouse, it could be anybody. But if you change one other life based on what you've learned through this, then it's an incredible thing. And there's no amount of money that makes you feel so good for helping somebody else change their life and get out of a situation or a rut or something, a struggle they've been going through. And if you introduce them to this lifestyle or this way of thinking or this plant medicine, yeah, go for it. And it's up to you whether you want to help one person or many people through social media or however you plan to do it. But it's not mandatory. You don't have to. But yeah, it sounds like you've got the calling, and what a great question, and I love it. And let's go out there together and change the world. Wow, I love it. So what I've been doing lately, if you haven't realized this, is it's getting sometimes, especially on this road trip, it's getting a little bit more difficult to answer questions directly on YouTube or by email or whatever. So what I've been doing is trying to make it a point to answer your questions during my podcast episode. It's great because it helps so many people, and you can rest assured if you write in with a good question, there's a very good chance I'm going to try to help you I'll answer it on my podcast. I'll do my absolute best. Wow, out of breath. This road trip is phenomenal. As you can see, as I said, if you're on YouTube, you can see I'm in my car. I just took a little break. I had a lot to talk about. I'm so glad we met up here now, and I'm about to get on the road and get back on the road and go. I'm heading from Florida now. I was actually in Ocala, Florida. I'm heading towards Atlanta on this leg of the trip, and I think I've got so many cool things still ahead of me, and I don't really have any schedule, but the only thing I have to be back by the end of this month because I do have a wedding I have to attend, and that's going to be pretty important. Otherwise, I would feel that I could stay out absolutely as long as I wanted to. I could drive to the wedding if I wanted to. It could be part of the road trip, but I'm going with my wife, and we should probably go together. So we'll do that, and then maybe, who knows, I'll be back on the road, or next year do a similar, or maybe even, I don't know, maybe even a longer road trip. I'm not sure, but I'm glad you're with me. I'm glad you're in the passenger seat with me right here on the road trip. Check the show notes of every episode. I give you some really important links. Hang out with us on Patreon. We got a lot going on there. We do actual live meetings every couple weeks on Patreon. So if you've got questions you want to ask, like in real time with a group, we're like almost like a family there. I ask you to join Patreon a week, and you will love it. I promise you, especially if you want to be with us on the live meetings and get your questions answered that way and get some help that way. And my website, microdoseu.com. It's microdose with the letter U on the end of it. Oh, I'm out of breath. But as you know, if you've been with me for a while, at the end of every episode, I do say I love you. And today especially, I can feel your energy, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's just that I'm out on the road here, doing my thing, doing this road trip with my brand new CB radio that I just held up. If you're on YouTube, you can see that. It's not as good as the 70s, because the 70s, everybody had one. You could talk to so many people. Now, they're few and far between. It's not as good as I thought, but occasionally I do get to speak to somebody out here, and it's kind of fun. It just kind of keeps this thing going. But until next time, yep, I do love you. I'm Dr. Dave. See you soon.